Because the ANC Youth League is currently giving a media briefing around what they call critical issues concerning the youth of South Africa. This briefing also happens to coincide with their 80th anniversary. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much, spokes, members of the media. I think it's good that the SG, that we re-emphasize that part of the reason you might see a boys' choir here is that the first TSG, she's a member of parliament. The second TSG, she's a member of parliament. The deputy president is a deputy minister. The only unemployed officials are the males here. All of them are employed and deployed as per our resolution that we need the Youth League in the corridors of power. We've increased our numbers from the last 17 to 18 MPs. It has never happened in the history of post-94, and it's something that we've achieved. As we enter the September, the ANC Youth League marks 8 years since its founding, a milestone that should be a cause for celebration. This milestone includes the achievement of the ANC-led government since 1994, such as access to healthcare, subsidized electricity, NEFSAS, free education, and many others. Before 1994, most disadvantaged children did not have access to free schooling and many were excluded from the education system. After 1994, the introduction of free schools and other support services led to a significant increase in access to free education for disadvantaged children, which reflected in shifting and making sure many of the youth are educated. Before 1994, school nutrition programs were either non-existent or very limited, particularly for disadvantaged children. The lack of structured program led to widespread malnutrition amongst children in disadvantaged communities, negatively impacting their education and overall well-being. After 1994, the introduction of the National School Nutrition Program marked a significant shift, providing millions of children with daily meals, improving their health, school attendance, and academic performance. This program reflects the post-apartheid government commitment to addressing the past inequalities and supporting holistic development for South African children. Before 1994, the healthcare system was deeply unequal, with disadvantaged children, particularly black children, having limited access to quality health care. The apartheid government policy resulted in significant disparities in which the outcomes with a high rate of preventable diseases and mortalities amongst disadvantaged children. After 1994, the democratic government introduced significant reforms aimed at creating a more equitable healthcare system. These reforms include the expansion of primary healthcare services, free healthcare for young children, and targeted programs to improve the healthcare to disadvantaged children. While these progresses has been made in improving the access to healthcare outcomes, challenges remain, particularly in the equitable quality of care across all regions. They are but some of the achievements post-apartheid government. However, young people in South Africa still faced including high unemployment, social inequalities, drug and crime and gender-based violence and corruption. These pressing issues have created a generation that is increasingly delusioned and frustrated. Yet, despite these challenges, we are a thriving nation. South Africa recently showcased its resilience and talent on the world stage of Olympic in France, where the athletics made us proud. We also celebrated the historic appointment of a first female Chief Justice, a testament that our nation is progressing in gender equality and justice. Just yesterday, our Springbok trampled against the All Blacks, once again proving that we are a force to be reckoned with. However, South Africa has recorded 156 days of sustained electricity supply, bringing an end of a record load shedding that had crippled our economic growth and forced business to raise prices to cover up the cost of any security. This achievement underscores our capacity to overcome challenges and drive progress. However, not all is well. We must also address the concerning issues of extortions in the country, mainly in Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Eastern Cape, which have been causing severe distress to local businesses and communities. This rise in criminal activities aimed at extorting money from businesses is undermining the economic stability, derailing investment in the region. The ANC Youth League calls for immediate decisive action from the law enforcement, and we urge the Minister of Police, Comrade Senzo Mchunu, to take strong measures to deal with criminal and restore safety and order in South Africa. This month, instead of celebrating, we will dedicate our efforts to address critical challenges head on. We will use the anniversary as a platform to drive meaningful change, ensure that the voice of the youth of South Africa are heard, and that the struggles of acknowledging them is addressed. The ANC Youth League stands resolute in its commitment to fight a better future for all young South Africans. On unemployment, to address South Africa's severe unemployment crisis, the Youth League has declared unemployment a disaster. If not addressed swiftly, it could lead to a widespread youth unrest with the potential to bear consequences for the economy. The South African population has increased from 7.6 million in 1924 to 60 million in 2024, an increase of 689.5%, and that is a proportional increase in job opportunities to prevent a high level of unemployment. The failure to match economic growth with population increase can result in significant economic and social issues. The youth unemployment in particular is severe, which over 70% of South African youth currently are out of work. This has led to a frustrated and has led young people to protest. The recent data indicates a 0.8% increase in unemployment, emphasizing that the youth needs more active public policies. The current policies fail to effectively link economic growth with labor market capacity to observe the workers. Therefore, there is a need for policies that foster both economic growth and improve economic abilities to create jobs. To address this, there must be an increase of investment in capital infrastructure projects that can create jobs. Additionally, implement for presidential stimulus program, which will be central plan to aim in boosting the economic growth and create jobs through targeted initiatives. State-owned entities play a critical role in our economy, but are currently underperforming. The ANC Youth League is firm that there should be no privatization of state-owned entities. That we must change the business model of our state-owned entities to serve the developmental mandate, in particularly on commanding the heights of our economy. Eskom and Transnet play a critical role in the input of the cost across the economy. Therefore, you cannot afford to have those critical sectors of our economy under private hands. Electricity and transport have a potential to drive high cost of living crisis, to make our economy unproductive. It is important that these two productive forces must be kept cost effective to stimulate investment in productive sectors of our economy, to create much needed jobs in our economy. South African youth need jobs. We are saying the only way to create jobs into this country is to industrialize the South African economy. Beyond the focus on profit making, it is entirely achievable to place state-owned entities on a sustainable path, especially given that they have been surviving through guarantees from National Treasury and government. If well managed, SOEs can play a crucial role in leading a role of addressing the social and economic challenges that affect our country. The ANC Youth League also calls for reservation of specific industries for only South Africans for business opportunities and employment, which includes spaza shops, food deliveries, restaurants, securities, e-hailing services, construction, and many other similar sectors. These industries are crucial entry points into the job market, especially for young and unskilled workers. By prioritizing South Africans in these sectors meaningfully, it is meaningful progress that can be made to reduce unemployment and provide more opportunities for the youth to secure stable and dignified work. The strategic use for South African mineral resources is crucial. The ANC Youth League has made an important call that not more than 70% of raw mineral resources must be exported. They must be used domestically to assist to reindustrialize the economy. Only 30% must be exported. This approach aims to leverage mineral resources to address developmental challenges and stimulate economic growth. Addressing the unemployment crisis requires a manifested approach, including tackling skills mismatches, fostering investment in capital infrastructure projects, ensuring that key economic sectors are reserved for South Africans only. All social transformation agents must work together to achieve economic and social benefits and continue to fight for national development and liberation. On the government of national unity. The ANC Youth League is closely monitoring the progress of the government of national unity. It is encouraged to see it functioning and intent. However, we are deeply disappointed by the recent remarks made by the Secretary General or the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, who has labeled the ANC sellouts, for its decision to invite political parties to form part of the government of national unity. The ANC Youth League has got a very good relationship with the Young Communist League and will engage them on the unfortunate attack on the Secretary General of the African National Congress. We've also engaged the SG of the ANC to not respond on social media on critical, serious political matters which can be addressed in other platforms. Let's remind you that the ANC was not given a full mandate by South Africans to govern on its own. That's why we found ourselves under government of national unity, which includes the SACP. Anyone who has a problem with the structure of the government of national unity must immediately withdraw their deployees, prepare to win the next elections on their own, so that they can implement things the way they feel they should implement them. Now, everyone with the government of national unity is commanded by one president, which is President Ramaphosa, and the under government of the African National Congress, invited by the African National Congress, including the SACP. We remain dedicated to ensure that the GNU serves the interests of South Africans. South Africans don't want a lot of theories, but they want their lives to be changed. They want service delivery. They want to continue, we will continue to hold the GNU accountable. This includes not only those from the ANC, but also those from other parties involved in the national effort. We will engage with the government to ensure that the work is being done and that all leaders, regardless of their political affiliation, fulfill their responsibilities. Regarding holding deployees accountable, we will continue with our meetings to convene all deployees, ministers and deputy ministers of the House, to account for the work that they are doing under the government of national unity to represent the interest of the youth. The ANC Youth League cleanup campaign. The ANC Youth League will participate in a cleanup campaign working together with community members, law enforcement agencies, home affairs, and all responsible government entities on a program to fight against government-hijacked buildings, construction mafias, drug lords, and undocumented foreigners. The issue of undocumented foreigners in South Africa is a grave concern that must be addressed with urgent and firmness. The unchecked influx of undocumented foreigners, nationals, is a direct threat to our national security, economy, and social fabric. The recent reports, such as the recent bust of illegal syndicates involved in the 80 million weight of smuggling of goods, the drug labs that we've seen in Limpopo, the highlights of several impacts of illegal migrants in our own country. This operation revealed how illegal networks undermine our economy, invade our taxes, and contribute to the criminal activities, including the extortion and drug trafficking. The ANC Youth League demands immediate strengthening of our border control mechanism to prevent the influx of undocumented national foreigners. It is imperative that we enforce a strict border security to safeguard our country's sovereignty and protect the interests of South African citizens. We are committed to addressing the employment of illegal foreigners in sectors that should be reserved for South Africans. We will work with the businesses and relevant stakeholders to ensure compliance with labor laws, prioritizing the employment of South African citizens. This is not mainly a matter of legal adherence, but a critical step towards reducing unemployment and ensuring that the economy benefits our country and is enjoyed. The economic benefit of our country is enjoyed by South African people. This month, instead of celebrating, we'll dedicate also our efforts to addressing all those socio-economic problems. On corruption. Corruption remains a significant obstacle to the progress and development of our nation. The ANC Youth League maintains a firm stance that those charged with corruption must be removed from government positions until they clear their names. If these individuals are ANC members, they must face internal disciplinary measures and be subjected to illegal elections. The ANC Youth League calls for a zero-tolerance approach to corruption within government and the private sector. We will not tolerate any attempt to shade corrupt individuals from accountability, regardless of their position or influence. The fight against corruption is not only about punishing wrongdoers, but it's also about restoring the integrity of our institutions and ensuring that the public resources are used for the benefit of South Africans. We also urge the government to expand the investigation and prosecution corruption cases, ensure that justice is served swiftly and transparently. The ANC Youth League will continue to monitor these efforts closely and hold those in power accountable for their own actions. Pre-elections commitments by the ANC and the President. On NEFSAS. Pre-elections, NEFSAS was collapsed by corruption, maladministration. We urgently called the Minister of Higher Education to resolve the maladministration in the entity. NEFSAS, too, is a huge transformation instrument to fail. It's too huge to fail. We will be on the ground mobilizing all stakeholders in the sector to ensure that NEFSAS and all institutions of higher learnings are placed at the top of the agenda of every meeting of government. Our country's economy reliant on the knowledge of production center. Their effectiveness is a priority. Now, NEFSAS must stop frustrating students. They must urgently pay for fees, pay for accommodation, pay for stipends, as per the commitment made by the government of the ANC. On the employment and labor. The President has announced before elections a skills program of 23 billion to upskill the youth through the Department of Labor. We are calling on the President to fast-track the program as we are unhappy with the slow pace of the implementation of this program.
Live visuals there coming out of Luthuli House. Apologies. We'll certainly keep watching the rest of the media briefing for you as it unfolds, but we are listening into the ANC Youth League's own priorities, if you like, as they mark 80 years of existence. Speaking there is Colin Malachi, who is, of course, at the helm of the organizations. He's mentioned a whole host of things, but I think what's worth mentioning is the remarks he made around the SACP's General Secretary, Solima Paila, who's called the ANC sellouts. He's now suggesting that if that is to be believed, then the SACP must recall their deployees in government, start their own organization, or at least compete in the elections as an independent organizations so they can get their own outright majority win. The war of words, if you like, has officially begun.